Hi, it's Laurel Dietz, and I'm here with Angela Farley, and it's our Friday divorce chat, talking about everything that's not legal about divorce and separation. So today, Angela and I want to talk about this like pressing need to be right. When you're battling out with your spouse, it's like, or your ex-spouse, and you know they're wrong about something, you just want to rub their nose in it. What do you do? Like, I mean, that's a pretty normal instinct, right? To want to be like, just kind of doing that back and forth and being like, let me prove you wrong and let me show you all the ways that I'm right. I mean, like, what do you think? Like that, so, I mean, obviously, like, yeah, everyone knows that. And my advice is typically take a step back at this point and let's examine whether or not it's worthwhile to prove your point or to like leave it to another day. Because that fight to be right costs a lot of money. It can be pretty damaging.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think back to when, you know, if you've got little kids, you often get the advice, you know, pick your battles. And I think that can definitely apply.
You mean in parenting, right? Pick your battles in parenting.
In parenting, sorry. It's really hot in here. My brain's not working as well as it should be.
Oh, good. So yeah, pick your battles. I think, and the whole point with that piece of advice is like, you got to conserve your energy.
Exactly.
At least as a parent. And it's no different going through a divorce, right? Like if you fought every battle, you're draining yourself, right?
Yeah, you would have no sense of peace at all and no energy to do any of the other things in your life that need your attention. So, and I think the advice even applies more so to your ex-spouse, because I mean, I know, you know, with an ex, you know, all those little things really do get on your nerves, and it just adds up to make, you know, it's a lot easier to
crazy making.
Exactly. Thank you.
And so you just really want to like document it. And you know what I find with that fight to be right is like, it's not just like when clients are like, they come to me and they're like, they present the scenario, right? And then they're just like, but tell me I'm right. I'm like, I will tell you you're right. And you want to know why I'll tell you why you're right? You know, if that's what you want, like you're paying me, I will tell you you're right. I mean, strategically, I do want you in the long run to reach your goals. And so more often than I will push back a little bit, but, or I will push back, but, you know, sometimes fighting to be right comes at the expense of like a continued positive relationship with, you know, a long-term co-parent that you might have. You know, what are some other bad things that happen if you're always fighting to be right?
I mean, it's going to definitely drag out the resolution process, you know, getting from point A to the, you know, divorce, which is the end goal. So if you're always fighting to be right, you know, what could be, you know, a few.
At some point you have to cut your losses, right? Like you're not going to
be in a divorce for 10 years, or do you want this to be over with and move on and have a great life?
Yeah, like, are you going to really well, that's it, being constant conflict. If like, I always have to be right, it means that, yeah, it's going to drag out. So if you cut your losses, it's like, you're never going to convince your ex that you are awesome. And actually you're never going to convince them that you are right. They're never going to swallow that bitter pill. Like you're breaking up for a good reason.
Exactly. That's right.
So we want to like, just say like, okay, my self-worth, I don't need you to tell me I'm right. I don't need a judge to tell me that I'm right. I don't need anyone to tell me I'm right. I know I'm right. But having said that, like, that's good enough for me, right? Right? That's kind of where I'd like most people to get to, is like confident and secure in their own sense of self-worth, that they don't need to look externally for someone to tell them that they're right.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And
that's like a self-esteem thing.
Yes. And I mean, if you're working towards it, there's other ways that you can validate yourself. You know, you can have these debates with a good friend so that it's not, you know, going down the road of possibly being toxic. So, you know, pick your battles and pick who you're battling with.
Well, that's it. Sometimes, like if you're in the midst of a separation divorce with someone who is really quite toxic or really difficult, sometimes it's better to just like avoid the fight altogether. And you'll, I talk about the divorce where someone ends up giving up so much, and we look at it, we're like, wow, that doesn't really seem very fair at all. We've seen a number of those come through, and it's like, it doesn't feel right to us because we're looking for fairness. But I think that what I always described it as to you is like, I think that this person was so desperate to get out of this relationship that they would chew off their own arm. They don't care what the loss is. They just need out. And they know that this is the literal only way to get out of this relationship and put an end to it.
As soon as possible. Yes.
Now that's pretty extreme though. Like, obviously we're not going to recommend that legally to anybody. If someone decides that that's what they're going to do is take such a huge loss to get out, we can't stop people.
No, but we really do try to help them to think sort of their future. And, while that might seem like a good path at the moment, is that setting you up for your best life? Yeah,
because that's the thing is like, we all know in that, that discomfort when you're in a uncomfortable position is like, how do I get out of it immediately? That's sometimes everybody's immediate thought. Yes. Is like, how do I get out of this? How do I put an end to this? And it's like, oh, I know. Yeah. I'll just walk away from everything.
Yes. Everything I want, and then and be finished.
And be finished with it. And then it's but the reality is like, depending where you are in your life and your stage of life, that's not necessarily a great decision.
And depending on the person that you're giving everything to, sometimes that's still not enough. Sometimes you give up everything and you think that possibly, okay, great, I'm going to give up everything so I can exit. And
then they're still fighting you.
And they want more.
Yeah.
And so at what point do you...
So there's a fight to be right, and then there's standing up for yourself. Right.
Yes,
there's a difference. There's a difference between fighting to be like, I need to prove that I'm right and I need some validation from you, X, that I'm correct and you're wrong. And there's a difference between that and standing up for yourself and kind of saying like, enough is enough. So it's finding that balance, I think, is, we kind of are always evaluating like, okay, cost to pursue a remedy and the benefit of that remedy. And it kind of goes on a balance. And we figure out, what makes sense here. Mm-hmm. That's how we're doing it from objective, non-emotionally involved people. So
we have that going on our side because it's not our
life.
Not our life. We're not emotionally involved.
No,
so but we just have a clearer picture of.
Yeah, I would say though, in some ways we are kind of emotionally involved in that we want what we do, like, we are really invested in trying to get the fairest outcome for our clients.
Yes, yeah.
It makes us upset when like we realize that this is, we see a divorce where things are not balanced, things aren't fair. We don't like seeing those files where someone's so willing to chew off their arm to get out of the relationship.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. Those ones really stick with me. I really don't like it, but I guess, you got to do what you got to do.
Yes. Yeah. Do our best to support our clients to make the decision that works best for them.
Yeah. Well, I think that's our thoughts on fighting to be right. Anything else you want to add, Angela?
I'm sure I'll think of the perfect things to say as soon as we're done this video.
Well, we could just do another video on it another time. All right. Well, I think that's a great start, and we hope to see you in 2 weeks' time. So if you have enjoyed our video, do hit like and maybe hit that subscribe button and that little bell to notify you of when we're posting more content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please post them. We'll read them and do our best to respond. Or send us suggestions on other topics you'd like to learn more about. I think that's it. Okay.
All right.
Take care.